So what does it take to build an award-winning firm? And I'm excited for today's conversation. Wouter Fourie is back. Today, we delve into how they have built Ascor over a number of years and eventually last year being awarded the FPI Professional Practice of the Year award. And it meant so much to the entire team that was there. I was lucky to be there. So today I want to go as deep as I possibly can in the time that we have with Wouter. So with that, ladies and gents, welcome to season 7.
Stay curious, raise the bar, let it go.
Good morning. Warm welcome back. I just said to everyone, like, everything feels so different because the studio's different, everything's positioned different, there's different things on my desk. So today is a new experience for me, and hopefully we'll get into the swing of things very quickly. It's been 2 months since our last episode, and I'm really excited to be back finally. Season 7. It's an incredible year ahead. Our theme this year is all about from knowing to doing, and everything we do for the show, in our community, and also all of the other things that we are busy with, from knowing to doing, because we know a lot of things, but we're not really doing them. You know, when you get to a point where you go like, I've heard that before, I know this. Nothing new, then probably that's a big sign to start doing things. So that's what we're going to push. And today, my guest is Wouter Fourie. Looking forward to that conversation with him. And we're going to delve deep into exactly how are they doing it? What are they doing? Not all the theoretical stuff. We're going to get into that. So looking forward to that. Righty, but of course, we've got Nikki with us this morning from the FPI. Nikki McDonald is back for season 7, and Lilani will also be back. So looking forward to that. Then Ben is running the Efficiency Edge. Today, you saw his blue steel look, so he is absolutely ready for his segment. Lene is back with all of the announcements and all of the cool things that's already happening in the world of propulsion. So she will share that with you, and then I'm getting into the conversation with Wouter. Righty, so I'm going to say randomly hi to a few people. We're changing the format slightly a little bit. So first in the house is Kobus. Good morning. Working from the West Coast. I just said to Wouter, I want to go to the West Coast a little bit more. We've got Johan in the house. Good morning, JP. Morning, all the good people. Lovely warm day in Pretoria. Fantastic. We also have Charmaine. Good morning, folks. Happy. Who else we got here? So Frederic. Good morning, colleagues. Nice to see you. We also have Lindelwa, who's here, our brand new business assistant. And she's part of the team now for about 3 weeks now almost, and she hasn't run away yet, so that's absolutely amazing. And then also we've got Dr. Chris in the house. Righty, so ladies and gents, let's get the show on the road. And here's your first segment of 2026, season 7, and it's Nikki with Current Affairs.
Good morning, everybody listening, and good morning, Francois. I don't know what you and Ben did with the music, but the intros are giving me goosebumps this morning. So yes, the FPI is back for season 7 of Propulsion, and let's kick off straight away. You would have seen that there have already been quite a few fines and warnings coming out from the FSCA this year. They are not sitting still. So they have imposed an administrative penalty of an enormous 710,000 Rand on Quick Trade Pty Limited, following serious compliance failures uncovered during an inspection. So Quick Trade failed to comply with multiple provisions of the Financial Intelligence Centre Act. At the center of the findings was a deficient risk management and compliance program, or RMCP. Now, we all know that accountable institutions have to develop and implement a comprehensive program Many cases this is in place, but the framework failed to clearly demonstrate how it would meet the obligations of making sure that they identify risks and report them. One of the things they did not do was they did not properly establish or verify the identities of clients, failed to obtain information on source of funds, did not adequately assess business activities, ownership structures, or control arrangements. And that was a failing in customer due diligence in terms of certain sections of the FIC Act. They also failed to report aggregate cash transactions that exceeded the reporting threshold. So before they changed the FIC Act in 2022, institutions were required to report multiple cash transactions by the same client that together exceeded 25,000 within a defined period, and Quick Trade did not comply with this requirement. Now, this penalty, once again, like all the others that we've seen last year, and I'm pretty sure that it's just going to ramp up going forward, sends a clear message from the regulator. Compliance with anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing laws is not optional, and failures in governance and controls carry real consequences. It's not enough just to have your plan in place. You also have to prove that you're actually doing what you're saying you're going to do. And I think that's the most important. Then on the consumer advisory, in the consumer advisory space, the FSCA has got a consumer advisory panel that is compiled of people who are consumers. You've got people like Maya Fisher-French, journalists, other people who work in not-for-profits who have access to consumer advice and who works with consumer advisory matters all the time. And they are a panel that helps the FSCA in speaking the voice of the people, if I can call it that, versus just listening to financial planners and people in the financial sector. So these 11 members have done quite a good job from November 2023 to March 2025 to help the FSCA to make decisions and work on the projects that they are busy with. Now, this week they have put out an annual report for the first time, and this report highlights several key consumer issues that the panel has actively raised and discussed with the regulator. These include growing concerns around financial influencers, or finfluencers as we call them, and the regulatory challenges posed by the increasing presence on social media. The use of AI in financial services was also discussed. We all know that that is also a relevant issue in the financial sector. And other issues raised includes access to and affordability of banking and payment products, as well as questions around the effectiveness of consumer education initiatives in a rapidly changing financial environment. So the panel's work supports the broader commitment of the FSCA to fair customer treatment and building a financial sector that works in the best interests of all South Africans. So that is actually a fairly interesting report to read. And then the last comment that I want to make today is, what can we expect on Wednesday, the 25th of February, in Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana's 2026 budget speech? Economists say expectations are firmly anchored around stability rather than bold policy shifts. Also, doesn't seem that there are going to be any big surprises, according to economists, in the raising of VAT, for example, like we did last year. Although the country's balance sheet has strengthened somewhat, government remains under pressure to achieve a primary budget surplus and contain rising public debt. Economist Andre Roux from Stellenbosch Business School said that the budget remains a delicate balancing act, with economic and fiscal discipline competing against political considerations. Overall, the message looks like it might be no major surprises. Cautious fiscal management and difficult trade-offs in an already constrained economic environment. If you are a member of the FPI, you would have received the invitation to our budget review for Thursday morning. It is free to all our registered members, all our professional members, also all candidates and students that are on our system. So the invites have gone out already. We will have Ronald King, Ronald Matande, and Stefan de Wet discussing the changes and how it will influence the financial planner and what you must know after the budget speech. So please join us for that. And then also our annual refresher registrations are still open. We have got a serious lineup of people who are going to lift your technical knowledge. That is what annual refresher is for. We make sure that you are up to date with all the changes and everything that is happening in financial planning. There are 3 in-person events, one in Cape Town, one in Pretoria, one in Johannesburg, and then also an online event that you can attend. So go have a look at www.fpi.co.za. Under events, it is listed there. Please join us for annual refresher. And then on a final note, have a wonderful weekend, Francois, and everyone listening.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Nikki. I really appreciate that. And what a way to start the year. Well, the year. Like yesterday, I was at a session and somebody said to me, "Oh, it's the first time I'm seeing you. Happy New Year and good luck for the year. When does that stop?" I said, "Well, I'm glad we didn't only meet in December because that would have been a bit late." But thank you very much, Nikki, and welcome back to you as well. Next up, we have Ben with the Efficiency Edge this morning. Falling over my words, and he is talking about when automation is not enough. So here's Ben. Let's hear what he's got for us today.
Good morning, everybody. Yes, my name is Ben, and this is the Efficiency Edge, the segment that makes your future self want to high-five you. So first of all, I just want to start off by saying a big thank you for inviting me back for another season, and it is a real privilege to be with you all here today. Now, I want you to picture this. You've had an amazing client meeting. You've agreed that you're going to implement something. You tell them, Mr. Client, my admin team is going to send you all the documents. You've got a great admin team, so they dutifully send all the documents that need signing to the client. You've also got a great process or maybe even an automation in place. So after day 3 of not getting those documents signed, an automatic reminder is sent. Day 7, another reminder is sent. Day 15, the final reminder is sent. This all feels very efficient. The system's working. They're getting these automatic reminders. You've even made it like super simple. You've given the client an e-signature program just to log in and sign. But the document is still not getting signed. And you're probably thinking to yourself, why not? That's because automation is excellent for consistency, but automation does not remove friction. It only standardizes follow-ups. If a client hasn't responded or acted after 2 reminders, it's probably not an admin issue. There's friction there. And friction needs a conversation and not automation. So if your document is sitting unsigned, there's probably something happening beneath the surface. Maybe they don't fully understand what they're signing. They're uncertain about the advice. Maybe they're feeling a bit overwhelmed or they're hesitating. When a client doesn't sign a document, it's really laziness or forgetfulness. So maybe instead of sending another email, try a phone call and say, "Hey, Mr. Client, I noticed that this document is still outstanding. Is there anything you'd like to talk through?" This simple shift moves you back into advisor mode and not into admin mode. And this is what often unlocks action. This doesn't always just happen with clients as well. It can also happen internally. The same applies to your team. Most internal delays are not about difficult decisions. They're about interpretation. A lot of people send work to internally around emails. But the problem with emails is that it removes tone, it removes urgency, it removes nuances. And so then your team starts to fill in the gaps. And interpretation then creates more friction. So maybe it's better to send a short voice note. Maybe pick up the phone, or even just jump onto a quick Teams call. I love voice notes. I think voice notes are so powerful because you can hear tone. People can understand your intent. And you generally only have to explain something once. There's not 5 back and forth emails clarifying something. So try a voice note. You'll be surprised how quickly those long email threads will disappear. Here at Propulsion, we use team messages to send to each other. So, with text, I might get a text from Francois that just says, Ben, we need to send the newsletter out. But I read it in my own voice, in my own tone. And I'm reading this and I'm reading it as pressure. And I'm thinking, I've been working on this for 2 hours. I know I'm late. I'm trying. Meanwhile, Francois is just saying, hey, Ben, just a reminder, let's get the newsletter out today. It's the same words, but a completely different tone. That small gap in the interpretation can create a lot of unnecessary tension. So just a 30-second voice note that says, hey, Ben, no pressure, just checking in. How's the newsletter going? Instantly removes all of that pressure, removes any ambiguity, and can just take away a lot of internal delays. So my challenge for you guys this week is just review one process or maybe an automation that's in your business this week. And think to yourself, at what point should a human step in? And then add that trigger. So you know that you need to maybe phone the client or you need to step in that conversation and have more conversations. Because at the end of the day, this is a very human and relationship profession. So that's your efficiency edge for today. I want you to go out there and make your future self proud.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Ben. And yes, we've had some fun between messages and voice notes over the last year or so. So definitely. With that, here is, and welcome back to you as well, although you never went anywhere. So Sham, you had to stick with me through everything the last 2 months. Next up, we have Lene with the quick announcements, and she's got a few things to share. So here we go.
And just like that, we are back, baby, and better than ever. I hope you've missed us because we've missed you. So welcome back to your Friday fix. I hope this will brighten up your Fridays going forward, and we will be leveling up together. So let's get straight into our quick announcements. First up, I quickly want to talk about our co-pilot webinar that happened this past Wednesday, and wow, what an incredible response. The questions, the engagement, the realization that, oh, this is actually useful. So we're not stopping there. We are launching a 6-week hands-on workshop where financial advisors will already have Microsoft Copilot and want to use it properly. Not occasionally, not experimentally, properly. And this is for advisors who have access to Copilot through the organization, or want to turn it into real-time savings, better outputs, and repeatable workflows. So each week they will go practical, and each week consists of different topics, if you will. And by the end of the 6 weeks, Copilot won't be a shiny tool you sometimes try. It'll be your work assistant. This will be running in our community, so if you are not a member yet, I'd better check that out if I were you. So that's starting on the 25th of February, which is next week. So you better go check out, and if you're already a member, great for you. You have access and you can go and RSVP and add all of those sessions to your calendar so that you don't miss one. These sessions obviously will be available on demand if you can't make them, but trust me, you would want to be there. Next up, I am so excited to announce Propulsion's very first Practice Management Conference 2026. And this one is quite close to my heart because running a financial practice requires more than just giving good advice. It requires systems, structure, capable people, and good decisions. So this conference is all about the business of running a financial planning practice. Not about products, not about sales pitches, and not theory. So if you're a practice owner, an ops manager, part of the engine room of your firm, this event is built for you. And this year's theme is the Intelligent Advisors Playbook. It's happening on the 17th of March, and it's only a morning thing, so from 10 to 9 until 2, jam-packed full of practical ways to improve your business flows. So head on over to our website to buy your ticket or get a bit more info about what will happen on the day, and then we will see you there. Can you believe? There we go, our first week announcement done. And lastly, here we are again. If you are watching and you like what you see and hear, please like and subscribe, share with your colleagues. I promise you, this is where good things happen and where you level up your skills, your knowledge, and your way of thinking. And we love our community, and we hope you have a great Friday. Let's get into our interview with Wouter Fourie.
So much happening. Right. So Wouter Fourie is the CEO of Ascor Independent Wealth Managers. They are the winners of the FPI Professional Practice of the Year 2025 award. Ascor is a Pretoria-based multidisciplinary, I'm saying municipality. That's not right, Wouter. You would hit me over the head. But they are a Pretoria-based multidisciplinary firm that brings financial planning, investments, tax, accounting, and estate work together all under one roof. And Wouter is also a CFP professional and also a professional accountant as well, with more than 27 years in wealth management. Wouter, warm welcome, and warm welcome back to the show. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Francois. And I actually need to greet like you guys. Good morning, Francois.
Yes. So Wouter, there's so much. Like I said to Wouter just before the show that, you know, I had all these questions, and I realized there's no way that we're going to pack it into 40 minutes. So I'm going to get cracking and see how many of these things we can really get through. But Wouter, as much as you feel on your heart you want to share about a particular question, please don't hold back. This is all about unpacking like exactly how you do things, and, you know, a bit of why as well. But I want to get to the how and what goes into building an award-winning firm. But one thing that I saw, I was there that night when you were announced as the winners, and even though the room was quite dark, there were some tears in those eyes of yours. Like I could see this was a moment. This was a big thing for you, but not just. And I look at the way that whole team on stage, how they reacted, and we put a little picture on the thumbnail for that as well. They were ecstatic. So tell me, what did it mean to you and the team in that moment, you know, when you heard your names being called?
I think your question is correct in stating what does it mean for me and the team, because it's not just about me, it's about the team. And honestly, I think it was a deep affirmation of everything that we've been quietly building over the years. When we started business, we never set out to be a flashy kind of business. We wanted to make sure that we have a business that serves clients with integrity, consistently the same, really well, and also caring. And what's important about it is you can't do that on your own. Even if you think you are a champion and you've got all the leadership skills available, you can't do that as an individual. And winning the competition was just that deep affirmation of everything that we've done, and also representing the team. You also saw that we had the exco. My exco joined me on stage. As you said, it was emotional because you know that you've been working on this very hard for the last 20 years. Our company's been running for 20 years, and it's more than just a business. It's a family. It's people caring for each other. It's people dreaming together. And also the participation in building something that's got a lasting effect beyond the founders, myself and Martin Lecoq, who founded the business 20 years ago, and really felt that people actually saw our hearts. They saw the efforts, the discipline, the care that we have in terms of our processes and who we are and what we stand for. So yes, it was emotional. It was really emotional. And it was fantastic. What a great evening, and well hosted by the FPI. And the way they do it is also excellence, and that's what we stand for.
So brilliant. What you wouldn't have seen, Wouter, is me also quietly shedding a tear, because I can't see another guy cry and then not cry with them, because I think, you know, there's a lot of similarities between what you're doing and building your business and what we're trying to do. And I think there's lots that people don't see, obviously, things that go on behind the scenes, the challenges. Like, it seems like we've just got things figured out, or somebody has just got things figured out, but they don't really see. And then to be in that, like, it's almost like that whole room was emotionally charged for me. Like, it was really, really incredible. But I mean, what did people not see? I mean, there's lots that led up to that moment, but what were maybe some of the things that people didn't see, or what was like the hardest part of getting there? And I'm probably not just referring now to the competition, or, you know, being on there. It's more like everything probably that led up to that moment throughout Ascor's journey.
So I've got a saying that I stick to in life, and that's always start with the end in mind. If you start something, you've got to know what it's going to look like in 5 or 10 or 15 years' time. And the build-up towards entering the competition is also something that we set a target for ourselves. And behind the scenes, there's much more than just setting targets and dreaming about winning a competition and carrying a trophy or certificate. There's a lot more involved in a business besides processes. I mean, yes, we've been working hard on processes. We dream about excellence. And again, excellence is not glamorous. It's hard work. It's daily work. But behind the scenes, there's emotions as well in terms of people. There's life. Life happens to people. And besides working in a business, you also work with teams, and teams consist of people, and people have emotions, and people have families, and they've got private lives that also interferes with the business environment. So besides just working on a business, it's working in a family, building the team, preparing successes, creating systems, challenging the systems that we've got. How can we do better? How can we wow our clients? How can we make sure that what we do, or what we say, we actually do? And I think the hardest part was the discipline, keeping the standard the same, whether the markets is booming or crashing, whether you're tired or inspired, whether you're going through a personal crisis in your life. And I think that's probably the hardest part, and the work behind the scenes is to be disciplined and keep on doing the right stuff. And I think that's something that inspires all of us, is just be your best. And I think, Francois, there's a nice saying that says, life is not a dress rehearsal. So whatever you do, do it to the best of your ability. You're not just serving yourself or your own requirements, you're actually serving the community out there. And the way we build our business is also to make sure that we create an environment where staff members can excel, not just in the business environment or in the corporate environment or the company, but also in their private lives, and how we can deposit in their lives, and also experiences that we see from what we've done correctly, and some things that we can actually better on. So there's a lot of work behind the scenes, and I think, as I said, I think the hardest part is the discipline to stay consistent in what you do.
Yeah, that is Yeah. Yes. Wouter, so before we move on and get into the meat of the thing, what made you guys enter for that? Were you trying to benchmark to see where Ascor is? Was there another reason? And maybe what is it that you took out of that process as well? Apart now from, I mean, you couldn't have gotten better than say, well, you won this. But what were the things you took out of it that goes beyond that as well?
Yeah, the benchmarking is a very important aspect of what we do, and it takes us back to our company's vision. And our vision in the company when we established it 20 years ago was to be recognized as the leading independent wealth management group in the country. And by putting that vision on your board and aspiring to it also means that you need to benchmark yourself. And I don't think there's a better place to benchmark yourself than against the other professional practices in South Africa. And I've got a shout out to all the other professional practices out there that are creating an environment where we've got, I call them incubators of excellence. Companies who really strive to uphold the FPI standards and the FPI ethics and building a profession. And we often talk about, yes, we've got a practice, but we've actually got professions. We've got professional businesses that we need to run. And I think that was our main focus, and our drive is to get to that point where we say we can actually look at our vision and say, yes, we are establishing and we're getting to that point where we are recognized as the leading independent wealth management business in South Africa. And the only way to do that is to benchmark yourself against the best. It also forces you to confront what you've postponed. And if I say that, as I said, it's part of our vision, and we can't say we want that, our vision, if we don't test ourselves. So yes, that was part of it, is to benchmark and also to get insight. I mean, it's challenging to open the bonnet of your engine and to allow the professionals to look in and look at the engine and to criticize, not criticize, but to comment on processes and also to maybe show you out on areas where you lack. And I think that's the benefit of it, is you actually you walk away from this competition being a better business, and also, again, the acknowledgement that you got a incredible group of people who's part of the business, people who help and dream and build the business on a daily basis. And as I said, excellence it's tough to be in a position where you are measured against the best in the country. So again, yeah, shout out to the competitors and the people that we competed against in the final, two fantastic companies. And yeah, it was tough. It was we felt the pressure.
I'm pretty sure. Right, Wouter, let's step off of that and get into the heart of the business and get a little bit more practical on what it is that you're doing. And specifically, I want to start off with what you do differently, probably from, in at least in your mind, what are you doing that's different, and so on. But the first thing is obviously, like I would think, is to say, well, what are the non-negotiables for Ascor or in Ascor? What are the non-negotiables? And then, like, we all have some variation of that, but then often when things get fast and furious, you let go a little bit of that, and you don't stick to your own non-negotiables, and suddenly some of them become negotiable. So how do you then protect them when things really get hectic and busy?
I think non-negotiables for us is our independence and honesty. Independence also keeps the industry honest. And again, honesty in terms of the company itself, how we deal with each other within the business, but also with our clients. And I think that also keeps you in a trust position, because yes, we all make mistakes and we try and stick to the processes that we've developed, and yes, we really try and stick to it. But sometimes you do falter and you make a mistake, and then it's the best place is to be honest and to move on and get back on track to what you said you're going to do. And I also think some of the non-negotiables that we have in the business is we've got a 24-hour response requirement, so we need to get back to clients as quickly as possible. We've got what we call a 12-1 service model where we've got 12 contacts with clients per year. So on a monthly basis, there's a contact with each client. There's yearly reviews that we provide to our clients. Our advice is documented, so it's written down. You can actually go back and have an audit trail. You see this is where the accountant comes through of the advice that was given 4 or 5 years ago, and you actually see the process and the progress in terms of what they do. And then also clear about our fees, and also no shortcuts in terms of compliance. I think that's also a big non-negotiable for us. We really embrace compliance. We've embedded it in our processes, not just a checklist. We're actually utilizing artificial intelligence on top of our structures to help us to monitor and guide it. And we've also got a excellent internal compliance officer that assists all of us to make sure that we adhere to not just legislation, but also to the agreed service levels that we have with our clients. So when things get busy, these are our non-negotiables. And it also protects us from compromising our standards. And as Nikki mentioned, it's challenging for all businesses. We need to embrace compliance and make it part of your business. It's a non-negotiable for us.
Yeah. But I just quickly, before I ask the next question, just a little bit around the compliance part. I'm also big on, say, well, you have to, you call it embed, I talk about integrate, but like, it has to be part of the financial planning process. It shouldn't be an afterthought or a separate process or something that now somebody's responsible for, in the sense of, oh, here's a stack of compliance things we need to catch up on. So can you just briefly, just quickly, just maybe just give us a sense of what does that look like in practice? Like, how have you embedded it and that? And I know you said like the AI helps to monitor, because that's important. But just maybe from a practical on the ground, as I'm working with a client, like what does it mean when you say you've embedded it in that process?
Because I'm a very strong believer of systemizing processes. And a big part of compliance is a process-driven system as well. So internally, we've got, we use Xplan as our CRM system, and we've built in Xplan what we call cases, and each case has got specific benchmarks that needs to be met. And yes, there are certain items that is non-negotiable in terms of compliance, that you need to have your ID and verify the client, etc. And we're very strong on that. All those cases, benchmarks need to be met on each client interaction. And that is the responsibility of the financial advisor. So you are responsible for that client relationship. You take responsibility for making sure that the compliance is adhered to. And what we've done is we've systemized that process. So for me, at any time I can go in and see where we are lacking in terms of certain compliance issues. And as I mentioned, our process is a process that feeds on previous tasks that need to be completed. And through those tasks, you can identify if there's shortcomings on any compliance issues. Also, that is checked. So it's not just a question of doing it. Each and every interaction with a client is captured in that case, and that case needs to be signed off by our internal compliance officer that also goes through and scrutinizes all the different aspects in that process. And then a very important aspect is applying your mind to your business. Compliance is not just a checklist. You've got to apply your mind to each and every process to say, but is this correct? Is this the right thing? If you need to do this in public, will you pass the test to say you actually complied with all requirements in legislation? But besides that, also to make sure that the client is benefited from it. And adding on to that, I think the benefit of compliance is not just in terms of protecting clients, but it's in protecting your own business. It actually strengthens your business. If I look back at how we did business 20 years ago and the way we're doing it today, it's two different businesses. And by embracing compliance and the compliance process, it's actually given us a healthy business, a business that's got a lasting effect. It's a business that will stand the test of time as well, because all the structures are well monitored, well protected. And again, it adds on to the fact that you can provide better client service if you know that you are compliant in terms of all your processes. I think something that added a lot of stress onto businesses is the detailed due diligence processes that we had to go through. And even in the last 2 years, that was a very big focus in our business to make sure that we embrace that process. That it's not just a checkbox, that you actually apply your mind, because if you take on the wrong client, it can harm your business. You don't want to get into any legal battles with legislation, etc. So you need to make sure that from word go, from the first interaction with a client, that you actually embrace the compliance requirements around it. So yeah, it's part of what we do. We build it into our systems. And then in terms of the AI side, so I also told you that we really embraced Copilot in our business, not just the last year. We've been researching it for many years. Since the first time I heard about it, we investigated the process, and now the big picture looks and what Microsoft is actually trying to accomplish with Copilot. And we've adapted our systems, our software systems, SharePoint systems, our teams. We run all our clients' information through a Teams channel environment. And doing that, we can actually put Copilot on top of all the structures and run certain compliance checks for us. A good example is checking all your internal policies, business policies against legislation. I mean, that takes a lot of knowledge, insights, and etc. to do that. But by automating it and using Copilot and artificial intelligence, we've actually built agents that run those checks for us in terms of our internal policies. And it also identifies any shortfalls that we have against legislation. And it's a thing that's consistent. It runs it on a weekly basis for us. Every week I get, as CEO of the company, I get a report on possible risks in the business that the AI does behind the scenes without taking emotions into account, and giving me a clear picture of where there are risks in the business, and even on communication and interaction with clients. A lot of the staff don't even know that I'm running these systems, but that's also good. So today they will learn about that. But it's important to use the tools and to benefit from it. And like I said to you earlier on, automation is like a fax machine at the moment. I think artificial intelligence is what we need to embrace. I think you don't need automation if you've got AI doing your work for you.
Yes, thanks very much, Wouter. So, I mean, I was excited to learn more about that, to see exactly sort of how that works. I have coffee there by you in your main office, not your satellite office. So thanks for that. There is one quick question, but just a quick answer for this one, because I want to get into, you spoke about taking on the right client, but just before I ask about that, the compliance part, right? So who checks the quality of the advice though? Who's responsible? So does the compliant, your internal compliance officer, look at everything's there that should be there, or do they actually also scrutinize the content of what is there, and sort of whether that meets the quality of the advice that you are looking for?
Okay, so the quality of the advice actually goes a lot deeper than just the compliance officer checking at the end of the day. So, Francois, many years ago, we decided to structure our business in a format called like in an orchestra, where you've got different components playing towards a specific song. Now, in an orchestra, you've got more than one violinist, you've got more than one trumpet, you've got more than one whatever the other instruments are, and they all play towards one specific song. Now, if you structure your business as a silo business, what we've seen a lot of times is that you have the advisor, and the advisor's got a paraplanner, and the paraplanner in that silo is the admin person. And if you've got that structure, you don't have the quality check where you have compared to a ensemble environment, where what we've done in our business is we say we do not want silos. We've got our service advisors or our paraplanners working on all the financial planners, and we've got our admin people also working on all the financial planners. So there's not just one dedicated individual working to a financial planner. So the quality of the advice comes from the admin right through to your paraplanners, to your advisor, and then it's verified by the compliance officer to make sure that we adhere to all the requirements. So by doing that structure, you actually get your service advisor seeing the way that I give advice, it sees the way that Martin gives advice, it sees the way that Werner gives advice. And by doing that, we actually learn from each other in terms of how the process should look like and how our financial documents, etc., should look like. And again, the feedback that we get from our admin and from our paraplanners or our service advisors helps us to make sure that the quality of the advice that goes out is a Ascor excellence and not just a specific advisor excellence. So that established an environment where we've got an ensemble practice, like an orchestra, all playing towards one song and not individual instruments trying to play their own song, and then it's just one loud noise, and you try and have a compliance officer trying to listen to all the different songs. So the harmony that's coming through to the compliance officer internally and or externally should be the same song, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, absolutely. But thanks for sharing that, Wouter. Yeah, it makes complete sense. And because I think typically or traditionally almost like it was this, there's a small team. Whereas this is like, this is one big orchestra. So I really like that analogy as well. Then you talked about the, getting the right client through the door and making sure, because bringing on the wrong client can really hurt you, your business, your reputation, even like there's many things that can ruin even, I would say. But, it's easy for us to say, oh, client-centered, you have to put the client first, and a lot of people have that, it's even one of the FPI ethics principles, right, is client first. So we all aspire to that and that, but I'm really keen to see, well, on the ground and in Ascor, what does that look like practically, and not just in words. So how do you make sure that client centricity is lived and not just spoken about?
So this is a very favorite topic of mine. So first of all, building a business takes time and it takes effort. And especially when in the beginning of a business, you feel that you need to take on each and every client, because each and every client is a potential lead, and you can actually generate some income out of that client. And in the process, you build up a lot of individuals that you probably don't want part of your structure. Luckily, now 20 years down the road, we changed our structure and the way we go about it. So we don't go and hunt for clients. We get most of our clients as referrals that come through to us. We also get a lot of clients approaching us from the media, articles that we write, the presentations that we do, etc. And what we do is we've got a vetting process. So all the clients approaching us is firstly dealt with through our practice manager, who has an interaction with the client. And she'll go through a vetting process by asking certain questions, trying to get some information about the client, also trying to find out if this is just somebody who's trying to kick the tires or somebody that's serious about financial advice. And then depending on the requirements of the specific client, she will then allocate it to a specific financial advisor. By doing that, you first of all establish that you take on the correct type of client. And if I say the correct type of client, you need to get somebody that's serious about financial planning. Because if they're not, they're just going to waste your time. And if your time is wasted, you're going to disappoint them. So the vetting process is very important, and allocating the correct or the clients that fit a specific need to a specific financial planner. Then the next thing that we've done in our business is, and this is moving out of the norm, and I actually do a lot of presentations to the ASISA IFA group as well, is in terms of client segmentation. So the normal process of segmenting clients in A, B, C, D, or a brown, gold, platinum, silver, diamond, is something that I worked on very long. It took me more than a year to build our first process, and I actually did a presentation at one of the FPI conferences about it. And I found it so difficult to implement that kind of segmentation if you want to deliver excellence in your business. Because how do you distinguish between the service that you give to the blue client and the one that's a diamond? And sometimes a diamond sells out the investment, they go and invest in Bitcoin, so they don't measure fit your measure in terms of AUM or whatever, and then suddenly they're a blue count, and then you get this uneven excellence that you're trying to provide in your business. So we actually scrapped that whole process and said we don't do client segmentation. What we did is we actually gone around the route, and we do what we call client categorization. So we categorize our clients. So we put our clients, all our retirees, divorcees, goes into one category, because those are people concerned about cash flow. They're concerned about, will the money last throughout their life? And you can't put them in the same category as your business owner, the entrepreneur, who's concerned about VAT, concerned about company taxes, dividends being paid, pay-as-you-earn, deadlines, etc. And by doing that, we actually established a structure where we can provide the same excellence in terms of service to all our clients, but just in different categories. So we approach a retiree different than we would approach a business owner. And it just made sense. From the word go, that worked for us. And if you look at the service offering and how we go about it, it just made sense. Clients know what they can expect from us. You can actually set out a structured process whereby you can provide advice on certain items to a specific category. So I think if you look at working with the right clients and identifying the clients, that worked for us. And then also, if you look at the definition of our ideal client, our ideal client is simple. It's people we enjoy working with and people who trust us in terms of our advice that we give. And without that magical link between the two, you're going to find yourself in difficult situations, just trying to get more clients on board more often, making more money.
Wouter, thanks. So quick follow-up question on that is also then where, let's just say somebody does slip through the cracks, right? And they do find their way in. Somebody did open the red rope for them to come through as a guest, right? So they were just very good at answering the questions to the practice manager. And she said, well, seems like a good fit, looks like a good fit, meets all the criteria. They get in and then you find like, oops, this person was not so honest and truthful in their initial dealings. And
so you're telling me now that Sarita can make mistakes?
No, I'm not naming names here. I just want to know, how do you get rid of a client like that? Because surely you fired a few clients in your life, and it's always a big discussion point with some people that have these clients that they think, because I think as a financial planner, we often feel this innate responsibility to look after people and to help people. Like that's part of who you are. But that also means that often we don't want to let go of people we know we should be letting go of. So can you tell us just a little bit, how do you deal with, or how have you dealt maybe with some situations like that in the past? You just hand it off to Sarita. Should I talk to her?
Yeah, it's that I've got to tell you, our process is quite accurate. We don't often see that issue, Fransha, but yes, you can't go on saying that you never meet clients that you don't like or don't adhere to your business principles and integrity, etc. My business partner Martin will gladly tell you about the pitas, the pain in the clients, and those clients we do say goodbye to. So if we get to a stage and we realize that it's not working, we would gladly call in the clients or contact the client and say to them, we've got an issue. This is not really working for us. Would you mind finding somebody else? So that's the one way of doing it. The other way is just to raise their fees, Francois. Raise it to a level where it becomes comfortable for you to work with them. Just joking. Yeah, sometimes it's a tough decision. You've got to make the choice in the beginning as quickly as possible. And I think that's where the way that we take on clients is very important for us. So we spend a lot of time in the beginning to get to know the clients. I know a lot of people say that, yes, we spend time, but we really try and get to know the person. I'd rather have 3 or 4 or 5 meetings before we establish a relationship with somebody and then decide to take them on. Something that I personally believe in is also in the business, I need to protect my staff. If I find a situation where a client becomes nasty to my staff, I will always choose the staff and protect them in the process, because they are the people that build the business and make sure that the business got continuity, and those are the people that we care for. They're part of our family. So if I find a difficult client and they're nasty with my staff, I would confront them and address the situation. I would not just leave it to carry on. So one day when we have a private discussion, I'll explain to you exactly what the PITA stands for, but I think you can summarize what it's meant.
Yeah, no, I'm well aware of the PITAs. So right, but then also, like, when a new client does join Ascor, like, what does that onboarding look like?
It usually goes with a big fanfare. So we have balloons, and Francois, clients joining us is it's a personal process. As I said, it goes through a vetting process. First of all, we establish who would fit better with the client. So just to give an example, so somebody that's a young professional starting a business or starting his career or her career would probably fit better with one of the younger CFP professionals in the business who understand the life stage and etc. And then the process starts with the first meeting, which is what we call a complimentary meeting. And I do emphasize that word complimentary, because a lot of people say, no, we won't charge you and it's free the first meeting. I don't see it as free, it's complimentary, because it's actually costing you time and energy to have that meeting. So we emphasize that with clients. Part of the complimentary meeting is to really understand the client's requirements. So we ask a lot of questions, and this is where behavioral finance comes in. All the training that we did over the years helps us to ask the correct questions. And make it as comfortable as possible for the people when we first meet. And then only after we've established what their requirements are, etc., and we start obtaining all the information, then we provide them with a written quote. And we do not provide any advice before that stage. Only after the acceptance of the written quote would we start the process of advising and assisting the client in terms of their requirements. So yes, it's a structured process. Again, we've got processes built into our CRM that drives all of that. Even just the first meeting, the first contact is captured onto our CRM system. We've got a case that opens up. The case allocates certain emails that goes out to a client. The information is collected by the practice manager. She then applies her mind to the process and allocates it to an advisor. And then we set up the meeting. Again, the meeting setup is also, we've got online facilities where they book their meetings online. So it's a smooth process, and we try and make the experience easy and comfortable for clients as well, because it's a big decision to contact somebody and open up your finances and share it with them. And then a lot of times, those first and second and third complimentary meetings also goes with a box of tissues. There's a lot of emotions that come through when people start talking about their finances and why they need a financial advisor, and the life stages that they go through. It's a documented process, and it's a personal process as well.
Thanks very much, Wouter. So if people are sitting here listening to us and going like, I want to raise the standard of what we're doing, and in the next 5 years, I want to get to whatever that vision or that dream is for them. Any advice for what are the first things to maybe look at today? If you want to set out, like, at least I know I want to change things. I want to raise my bar. Where would you start, basically, is the question.
Okay. So as I mentioned earlier on, start with the end in mind. What does the end look like? What are you building towards? So you can't really build a house without a plan. Next thing that I recommend is start documenting everything that you do. So our approach is that if you need to do something twice, you need to document it and you need to standardize it. And then very important as well is inspect what you expect. So if you set systems in place and you start your documenting, your processes. You've got to inspect it and apply your mind to the process. What we did 10 years ago is not the same today. We've actually changed it. It's an ongoing process to review it and also to make sure that it meets the current requirements, legislation, technology, client needs, etc. And Francois, if I can, I see we're nearly at the end of the show, but if I can read something that I quote a lot of times when I speak to people is something that Marianne Williamson wrote, and she said, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God, and playing small does not serve the world. So whatever we do, do it in excellence. And remember, as I said in the beginning, life is not a dress rehearsal. It's actually life. What we do, let's do it to the best of our ability."
That's awesome. Wouter, thank you very much. There's a long list of things I still want to talk to you about. So I smell a follow-up session when time allows. But yeah, I think we got really into some detail today. Some very important things that really sets the tone for what's happening in the business. So first and foremost, thank you for your time. Thank you very much for being so open and sharing with all of us. Really appreciate it. And once again, well done with what you are building. I know it feels like you're only getting started, probably, and you still have lots that you want to do and big visions and things. So I want to personally wish you all the best and congratulations. That award is well deserved, but it's only the beginning. So I'm looking forward to see what happens in the next few years.
Big shout out to everybody online and also to the staff at Ascor.
Yeah, absolutely. Wouter, thank you very much. We will see you around soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I sincerely hope you enjoyed that and got a lot of value from that. Please do let us know what you thought of today's episode and what struck you. What is the one thing that you're taking away from this and that you're going to be doing today already, not on Monday. Monday is too long from now. And with that, that's our very first episode over time. That's how the season got started. Hopefully we can bring it back next week. But we'll see you next week, same time, same place. So 8 o'clock on a Friday. And if you watch the recording, thank you so much. And with that, we wish you all the very best. Stay safe, be blessed and prosper. Stay curious and continue to raise the bar. Love you lots. Bye-bye.
Stay curious, raise the bar.